Hello everyone, welcome to Rawlesims, it's me Rawls, and I am back with more Seduce Me, the Otome. So last episode we were besieged by the most ridiculous villain ever, and we discovered that there were some magical guards on the house, so clearly Mika's grandpa had some secrets, and then, they left. So, jumping back in, I felt my knees give out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me.
Whoa! Are you alright?
Yeah. Why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
We should have stopped him and finished it here.
Aggressive, Matthew.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix, was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
Yeah, potato. A devil? Oh my goodness. There's a difference?
Yes. Demons come from a different plane of existence called the abyssal planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know as hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Excuse me.
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
This was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. Yeah, keep up, honey. This has been happening for, this is like 7 episodes now. Come on. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
And you didn't see fit to mention this before? It's like ellipsis. I couldn't believe my ears. It was the 3rd day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. Should get that checked out. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
I'm gonna kick his ass right now.
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he?
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Well, yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger, but what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did this all even happen? Should I really meddle with the situation? They are only staying until after they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they only stay until after they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporary insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I'd have to care for the house all on my own. I get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'd have to. My life. Where was my life going, anyway? I was under pressure from my parents, with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I'd have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with it tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thought, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever. You're so important to me.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
Please, let me love you.
I'll be by your side, always.
I can't imagine living without you.
I want to be with you.
I love you.
I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m. Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across from my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m. in the morning? That's redundant, but okay. Explore the house. I mean, you're living in this giant house. I decided it was a good idea to wander around the house. I never really explored it much as a child, so there were bound to be new surprises. Well, come on, feet, let's go on an adventure. I stood and exited my room, hoping that the boys were still asleep. I began to wander the halls on my end of the house, opening each door to find what room each door led to. Quickly, I found an old office. A desk and chair sat by the far side as a large bookshelf of documents and memorabilia donned its nooks and crannies. There were a couple pictures of me growing up peeking from the shelf as I walked further into the room. I don't believe I've been in here before. I tried to recall memories of ever seeing this room, coming up with nothing as a result. This room was new to me. Did I want to disturb the furniture? I'm curious. I gently opened the shelves and any drawers I saw in the room, and a couple of them were books and even sewing kits. I assumed they were used for my grandfather's toys, so I left them alone. One drawer, however, was locked, no matter how many times I pulled. Grrr, come on, open! Honey, that's not how locks work. Nothing. It would not budge. The drawer beside it, though, did, revealing a laptop. Why is there a laptop in a drawer? I lifted it from the drawer and carried it over to the desk and chair. Opening it, it was a high-tech laptop with a retina scanner as a pass lock. I was not sure whether or not to try to unlock it. What? I was not sure whether or not to try to unlock it or not. My goodness. Try, why not? I decided to try. I turned on the computer and leaned my face near the retina scanner, lining the camera up with my eye. To my surprise, I heard a ping come from the computer before the screen opened to a desktop. Huh, look at that. On the desktop were documents and folders labeled with different aspects of the Anderson Company. Taxes, profits, bylaws, products, the list went on and on. If I really did want to become the CEO of Anderson Toys Company, I had everything about it at my fingertips. Dad would sure be impressed. One icon, however, stood out from the rest. Virago? I double-clicked the icon, but no window came up. Instead, I heard a large click coming from the drawer that was locked. What the? I slowly left my seat and walked over to the drawer, attempting to open it again. It slid open smoothly in the direction of my pulling hand, revealing 2 books. One was a plain black journal with a tie to keep it closed. The other was bound in leather, with cryptic symbols all over the cover. I took out the journal and skimmed through it, seeing my grandfather's notes. They were all detailed explanations and opinions on his findings on demon magic. He really did know about magic. I sat down at the desk and read through the journal further, finding drawings and sketches of symbols and magic circles, each with their own different meanings and effects. It was all fascinating. There was even a page of important spells to know. I read through them, trying to memorize them into my mind, as opposed to memorizing them into your butt, sure. I don't know what came over me, but I started to feel more energetic and more powerful simply reading my grandfather's notes. I was suddenly aware of the energy that surrounded my body and the power that was around the house. The more I read, the more powerful I became. However, my mind suddenly froze and I found myself walking back to the drawer, putting the book back and closing the drawer. The lock reset and I snapped out of it. Huh? What? I shook my head and looked at the drawer, realizing what I had done. I walked over to the desk to reopen the lock, but suddenly felt the need to stop. Something held me back and didn't want me to pry any more that I already had. I was curious beyond belief, but I obeyed my thoughts for now. Eventually, I would come back and look into it. I returned to bed, feeling the weight of the morning drag me under my covers to try sleeping again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening today. Come on, eyes, back to sleep. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check the time once again. It was noon, yet it felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed into normal clothes, and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. Huh? I quickly went out to the backyard in response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all 5 of the boys, practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged, each almost masterfully. They seem busy. Don't disturb them. I just watched. The boys were very much in their own world, focusing on the training they were all in. It was better not to disturb them. I checked the time and decided to head inside to the kitchen. I was getting hungry, and I'm sure the boys would need to eat soon, so lunch was a must. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make sandwiches. Because why not? I assembled simple ham sandwiches for all of us. After I poured some potato chips on the side of each sandwich, I felt satisfied. Who said lunch had to be cooked? I placed the food in the dining room. However, none of the boys were there by the time I brought the final dish out. I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particular. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hand to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focused on training. That's fine, one of them. I quickly rushed back and grabbed a second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. I couldn't find any of them. I could only shrug, though. They knew where the food was, so I went to my room instead and ate alone in my room. It's not my problem. I turned on my computer and started to jam to music as I ate my food. As I ate, I began to think about going out. There were so many places to go, things to do. Well, we didn't go to the arcade, so let's go there. I arrived at the arcade, ready to spend some cash on some fun games. I didn't want to be stuck at home on a Sunday. Besides, the arcade always had something new to play, no matter how often you came. I began to wander the aisles of machines, scanning over them to find a good game to play. I had played a lot of the games already with Suzu, so it was just a matter of finding a good one. What finally caught my attention was a crowd of people surrounding a group of machines. I got closer and peeked through the crowd to see Suzu sitting in a racing game versus 2 other players who were on the same machine behind Suzu's. From the looks of it, Suzu was losing, and that was causing her angered face.
You're going down!
Jerk.
Kiss my Italian ass!
I stifled a giggle, watching Suzu remain playful under stress. She was adorable but feisty, truly a spicy Italian. I observed as Suzu finally caught up to her opponents and passed them with ease.
What the?
Moron.
Hurry it up!
Later, losers!
The crowd began to cheer, watching Suzu beat out the guys and slide into first place. As the lights and sounds began to blare in celebration, the two jerks left the machine in a huff, and Suzu stood up.
Good game, everyone.
Slowly the crowd began to disperse, leaving me standing to applaud for Suzu alone. Suzu smiled as she finally saw me, walking over to me.
Hey, what brings you here?
I didn't want to be stuck at home, so I came here. I needed to have some fun after yesterday.
Yeah, man, I get you. Yesterday was full of tightwad business guys, and me and Naomi were pretty uncomfortable, too.
Really? I'm really sorry about that. Suzu laughed and waved her hands in dismissal of it. She then leaned against the racing game and put her hands in her pockets.
So what do you plan on doing here?
Let's play a game together.
Oh, really? What game do you think you could beat me at?
I think we could do some major damage and beat our high scores in robot extermination. Suzu grinned from ear to ear, nodding before taking my hand and heading over to the machine in question. It was cute to see Suzu like this. She was always the adventurous type, and I loved that side of her beyond anything. I guess that's what kept our friendship strong for so long. Eventually we did reach a large machine, covered with images of robots, disguised as animal mascots, and blood. We took up our plastic guns and swiped our game cards across the credit slot, giving our credits to the game to play.
You take left, I take right?
As usual, let's go. The game quickly started up, and we blasted our way through hordes of robots, landing more headshots than professional shooter tournament players. Aren't you up on yourself? Suzu and I had played this game so often, it pretty much had become our go-to high-score game. We always kept the top 5 spots on the leaderboard for ourselves. As we finished the first level, though, we were stunned to see the new leaderboard at the loading screen.
Someone took number 1?
Oh, hell no.
We maxed that level, right?
Mm-hmm. Suzu looked at me with a very familiar, deadly look in her eyes. She was determined to regain number 1. So was I. I knew what this meant. No deaths, quick reloads, and consistent headshots and Easter egg points. The whole experience itself ran 2 hours straight, with the main game and its sequel programmed into the machine. Once you finished one, you immediately began the next until you reached the end of the second game. At least it had some cutscenes to take breaks between. It'll be tough, but we got this. Suzu nodded before putting her game card in the breast pocket of her jacket and readying herself for the next level. I braced myself for a long game.
Hey Anderson, let's make this a little more fun. Whoever has the least amount of headshots has to treat the other to lunch.
It's almost 2 p.m., Suzu.
There's such a thing as late lunch.
Alright, you're on.
Second level. Start.
Oh my goodness. And we were off. Virtual bullets began to fly across the screen, slamming into the heads of multiple robots and causing them to fall to the floor and die out. One by one, Suzu and I burned through the game like our lives depended on it. We eventually had a crowd form behind us, cheering us on and offering us food so that we wouldn't have to leave the machine. Most of them were guys who liked the girl-on-gun action, but some of them were actually excited bystanders, hoping that we would take back our high score. Is that like a thing? Like, guys being super into 2 girls playing a video game? Okay. We snacked a bit, taking breaks between cutscenes and level changes, but we remained true to our goal. Eventually, we made it to the final boss, a giant black bear robot with red eyes and deadly attacks.
Let's go, Anderson!
Right behind you! The crowd behind us began to cheer as we began our final battle. Our legs were a little wobbly, but we were too into the game to care. All we cared about was the large red bar at the top of the screen slowly emptying with each bullet we fired into the boss's body. We only had a few shots left when someone called out,
"You girls suck!"
Moron again. Huh? Without missing a shot, Suzu and I replied at once.
You wish we did!
Alright, you wish we did! Before landing the final blow to our opponent, the death cutscene flashed and played on the screen, the scream of the robot bear booming through the speakers. Suzu and I weren't excited just yet. We were waiting for the high score screen to appear. It was the final high score screen of the entire game, so it was the most important screen in our eyes. Come on, come on.
New high score.
The screen popped up revealing our code, SCA, as the #1 spot in the game, knocking down our mysterious Mal opponent to second place. Oh, you mean Malix? The crowd behind us went ballistic as Suzu and I hugged each other tightly in joy. It was like stepping over a major milestone, despite it only being an arcade game. We did it! Woohoo! The second stat screen came up, separating Suzu and I from our hug of delight. In matters of accuracy, I was better. However, Suzu had more kills and headshots, making her the winner of our little bet.
Booyah! Free lunch!
All right. Where to, boss?
I just want some drive-thru food. I've been eating way too many home-cooked meals, man. I need at least one unhealthy meal.
Susie's family was indeed an Italian family, but they were very self-conscious about their food. They were quite possibly the healthiest family I knew. Suzu and I left the arcade, occasionally stopping to be given praise or be asked a question about our gaming skills. We eventually headed out to the parking lot, where a decently used Jade motorcycle sat with chains around its wheels. Suzu quickly took off the chains and took a seat on the bike, getting out 2 helmets, placing one on her own head, and ushering me to sit beside her. I followed her gesture and made myself comfortable on the leather seat behind her, putting on one of the helmets and wrapping my arms around her waist. Oh, how sweet. I had ridden with her on her motorcycle before, so this was nothing new to us. Suzu revved the engine and quickly sped out of the lot, driving into the streets towards a fast food joint.
Does Paradise Parlor sound good? I'd love some Paradise Nuggets and cheese fries.
Yeah, sounds good. We went through the drive-thru and ordered meals for ourselves before heading to my home. Susie parked in front, watching me dismount from her bike. And we're going to leave it there for today with this little mini date here with Suzu. Yeah. So this is happening, you know. Things are happening. I will see you guys in the next episode. Don't forget to leave me a like. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. All that good stuff. All right. Bye-bye.